What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. Today we're gonna be working on a couple different things down here in the basement. Let's talk about where we left off last time. So in the last video we left off with the door handles being complete. The only thing that we have to do now is wet sand them and get them ready to go back into the car. We are not going to do the initial wet sanding on these pieces. We're going to be doing it on the cooling plate. I'd rather mess up the cooling plate than mess up these. I'd rather just be able to keep these nice and clean, figure out what I need to do on the cooling plate, and that's how we're going to figure out these and make these work. As I was going to go put this down, I dropped it. So here's the thing that I snaked you guys on last week. Yes, this year we were going to be running a 255/35 on a 18 by a 9.5. These are Achilles Radial ATR Sport 2s. I didn't really see the need of going a full summer tire. I plan on running these pretty much as early as I can to as late as I can. And then switching over to snow tires once it starts to get too cold to really go outside and change tires. So that was the other purpose of going with the all season. I figured 255/35 is actually just shorter than a 225/45 like height wise. It's a little bit shorter, and obviously there's less sidewall than stock, but overall the car should look great, and there's very minimal stretching, so I shouldn't have to change too much compared to last year's setup. Like I said, you can see from the picture that they are very close. It's just obviously now I'm running a wider tire versus a shallower tire. So what's the goal for today? Today we're going to denib some tires. Alex will be over tomorrow, and I want Alex to be here to help me figure out the wet sanding process, because ultimately I'm going to have so many different parts that we're going to be working on. Having Alex here to help me lay down some epoxy and help me start to finish with these pieces is just going to overall take less time. Today we're going to denib this, and once Alex comes over tomorrow, we will start working on the carbon fiber. Alright guys, so it took me 2 hours to do just the faces of the wheels. It's these for some reason have a lot. I don't know if it's just the way they do their molding of the tire. I'm not sure if all tires are like this, but this one had a lot. There's probably 5 on the top section of the wheel, and then there's like sporadic ones throughout the, I guess, where they end up having to add more for like text and stuff like that. So it was very time consuming just to do the faces. I decided to not do the top section of the wheel simply because it was very time consuming, and I don't know which one's going to be the outside, so there's no point of doing the top section of the wheel until I know the wheels are mounted up and which side's going to be the outside. I'm going to work on that throughout the week instead of just all in one day, because they are, like I said, very time consuming, and we'll go from there.
You got a lot of meat here, my friend.
Yeah, there's a lot of meat there.
A lot of meat.
A lot of meat.
Oh my God.
Do the hand test? Let's get a hand test in there.
Dead nut center.
Wow. That's going on the TC.
Yeah,
That's the crazy part. That is going on the TC.
you know, you went from a 225?
225/45.
Wow, to a 255/35.
255/35, yep.
So you increased the overall width, or yeah, width of the wheel by 30 millimeters, which is about an inch and change. And the sidewall looks like you got some sidewall. It's gonna fit good.
The other thing that I noticed, all right, and what I found out, and I was telling them yesterday, when you look at the Will They Fit website, just falls within the stretch and the height.
Really?
Of that.
But no stretch.
But no stretch.
Oh, nice.
Like, it's very, very close, and I'll have to show Alex. It's very, very close to what that size was when it's physically on the tire, on the wheel. So it's gonna be very interesting, and I'm hoping, fitment wise, that we won't have to change too much. The coilovers are very soft. This is gonna rub.
No.
It's 100% gonna rub, even with all the stuff that I cut out last year. It's gonna rub.
It's not though.
I'm gonna have to run a different spacer.
It's not though, because the wheels that are over there, they have a higher offset.
Lower.
No, they don't.
I had 32s, those are 30s.
Yeah, but you had spacers.
I still have spacers on the car. I'm gonna still need spacers. I'm gonna need a shorter spacer.
Yeah, but we'll have options to play with.
Yeah, we will. We'll be able to. I already have shorter spacers around here somewhere.
realistically, I'm aiming for fitment like the Subaru on your car.
Where it's slightly tucked, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like sitting perfectly.
I
flush.
think the front we're gonna mess with. I want to kind of give the front an aggressive fitment.
Is this going with your street weapon?
Yes, we're gonna go very aggressive with this, and we'll have to play with it. And we might not even be able to get it right now because of how soft the springs are. 6K is very soft.
It's really not. Like, I mean, the Subaru ones are 8K and 6K.
We'll have to see. There's gonna be a lot of stuff that we're gonna have to go through.
We'll play with the dampening a little bit.
The dampening's maxed out.
Is it?
Dampening
like all
is
the way
maxed.
stiff?
Yes, it is, and it still rubs. So, yeah, 6K. That where my suspension's going. Very possible. Anyway, so tires. Alex is gonna take them. He's gonna get them mounted up this week.
Yeah.
And you guys will be able to see the setup. That'll be the first look.
It's gonna be exciting.
It's gonna be very exciting.
My man's robbed Arby's over here.
We're gonna get this all set up for you guys, and we're gonna figure out how to wet sand and give that a nice polish. Alex is gonna learn because Alex has stuff that he wants to do this year as well. So,
Figured it'd be more fun if I learned how to make my own carbon.
Exactly.
Spending my money,
Yep.
other people's carbon.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, Alex and I are gonna start taking a crack at wet sanding. I have a bunch of different grit sandpaper. When I did the first layer of epoxy, it was 120. We were going to take it up to 240, do a little bit of wet sanding, try to make it smooth, and then once we start getting it to the smooth, we're going to bring it to the next step up, which would be 400 and then 600. And if we feel like 600 is enough, I do have like 1,000 and above grit that we can try to smooth it out even more. And who knows, maybe 600 is a good place to stop too, because once we polish it, the polish will do a little bit of smoothing as well. So the only other thing I'm realizing is this thing does have a lot of
waves.
It's
like the ocean.
I think it was because of how I laid it out. Alex took a look at the handles that we have, and he said that they look really good. He doesn't even think that we need to do anything in terms of sanding. Those might be good with a 600 grit.
Yeah, just a quick little...
Just a quick, nice and sand to make sure everything is nice and flat, and then a quick polish at the end.
Yeah.
This is very wavy. I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's just the way I laid down the epoxy. So we might want to switch it over to a 120. We are going to do a wet sanding with it in order to not go through the entire thing. Let me take the 120. Look at that. I have 120 right here. And I'm going to put this in the water. We have a bucket of water over here. It's not cold. It's not warm either. But thank God we have a heater.
Yeah.
That only does something if you're standing right next to it.
That's why I'm standing right next to it.
Yes. We're doing here. And I guess, Alex, do you want to quickly say what you have planned or what you want to do, the theory?
So, the plan is that there are the bottom half of my fender has this little piece that comes out, and you can buy that in carbon. Or, if you don't want to spend $500-600 on it for someone else to make it, you buy the part from Subaru for $75 each, so $150 in total. And then you find Kevin, and Kevin makes it in carbon for you. I'm sure he's going to make me do some stuff, but...
Well, the reason why I want Alex here to do this is because we have a lot to do in terms of carbon.
Yeah, we do.
So having the two people who know kind of what we're doing and be able to, figure things out together, we'll be able to figure it out, make things a little bit easier for...
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of stuff that we have to do this year, so it wouldn't hurt to...
Have two people that know what they're doing?
Exactly.
Kind of. Not saying that we know what we're doing, because I have no idea what the hell.
I have no idea what we're doing.
But we're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go from there, because it's going to be a lot of sanding. So Alex and I just wiped it down, and there were some spots that we missed, so we're just going to go back over and try to hit all those spots. There was definitely a lot of highs and lows. There's a piece right here that had a lot of epoxy, but it was just built up epoxy, and unfortunately I went down too low. So we're going to go over this one more time with the 120, and then we'll step it down, or step it up to 240, and then go up from there. So what we ended up doing is we ended up switching over to the 240.
Yeah.
It's definitely evened out in the terms of the waviness. There are still some spots where we can do better in. There's this one little spot right here where we're probably going to have to sand it down and try to do the repair on it, because there's a pit in the epoxy. There probably was an air bubble.
Probably.
That's probably what that was. I was doing this outside, and the other thing I wasn't doing when I was doing this is I was using a brush instead of foam. and I wasn't hitting it with the heat gun. That heat gun definitely saved me with those pieces that we were doing inside.
Yeah.
Because when you mix the epoxy, they say don't let a lot of air into it because that'll create bubbles.
Right.
So that's obviously what happened here. And the heat gun adding heat to the epoxy brings the bubbles out of the epoxy. So that's definitely something we gotta remember to do. When you don't need a lot, just enough to kind of, you actually see the air bubbles come out of the epoxy when you hit it with the heat gun. But anyway, there's still a lot of valleys on this. This was pretty terrible.
My side looks better.
No, I think this was just overall, because look, there's a lot of like where the epoxy wasn't. I think that was because of the paintbrush.
Yeah, probably.
The paintbrush couldn't get it nice and even. So I think we're going to be able to save this piece. I might be able to sand it down a little bit more and lay down another layer of epoxy. That might help us out a lot. But I think ultimately, for what we're trying to figure out, this is a great test piece.
Yeah, and if we could save it, even better.
If we could save and put it back into the engine bay, that's even better.
Probably we're going to put it in regardless.
Yeah, we'll put it into the engine bay.
Look good.
Exactly. So we did the 240.
We're going to step up.
We're going to step up to 400. We're going to try to get... the 400's not going to even out these valleys. But ultimately, I think the 400 will be able to kind of get this face piece right here nice and shiny. Nice and shiny. I can't feel that it's smooth. So I think that once we get up to a 400 and 600, I think that's going to make this thing brilliant. And then we'll do a nice polish step afterwards. But
you heard it here, folks. It's going to be brilliant.
It's going to be brilliant. We're going to step it up to 400 and 600, and we will talk to you guys once we are at the 600 ready for a polish.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we hit it with the 400 and the 600. It feels really smooth, actually, for being 600. Really that's really smooth. So now, realistically, all we would have to do is polish it. And there is some... It's not perfect. I will say this. It is not perfect at all. No, it's not perfect at all, but we are learning so much just from this one piece.
It's true.
That we're going to be able to figure it out.
And you also learned a lot from this piece on how to apply epoxy.
Yeah.
Right, buddy?
Don't use a paintbrush. Like I told you guys originally, don't use a paintbrush. It's just...
Not a smooth application.
Yeah. The other thing is, too, this is a very hard piece to start off with.
Oh my god, there's so many valleys and stuff in this piece, but I think once we hit it with some polish and stuff like that, all these shiny pieces over here, that you see now because you see this is matte, you won't even be able to notice.
Yeah, I think honestly we'll be able to make this nice and smooth.
Yeah.
With a nice polish, and then we'll be able to hopefully get my door handles back in today. That'd be pretty cool.
That's the goal, is to get his door handles.
The only good thing is, too, there's two door handles, and there's two of us. We'll be able to knock out the door handles in no time.
True that.
So we're gonna break for lunch, and then we'll stop by after lunch and do a nice quick polish on this, see what we can do.
And then we're going onto the door handles.
On the door handles, yes. All right, guys. So we just had lunch, and we're gonna get to polishing this piece. So we're just gonna use Adams Polish's compound. We'll use this, and then use the polish itself that also is Adams Polish's to give it that final polish. So Alex is going to hold one side. I'm going to put some polish on this. Probably way too much. We'll probably be able to do the entire thing with this. But hopefully this...
You better flip that fast.
Oh, yep. All right, so I put down some of the polishing material, or the liquid, on the piece itself. Put some on here. I'm going to dab this up real quick. That's definitely the way to go when it comes down to that.
I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out compared to the other side that's not done at all.
Yeah, we're also only doing half, so we can see what the difference is.
Yeah.
Maybe figure out the best way to polish, etc. And the polish, hold on, let me read the bottle, read the instructions. It says speed setting of 5 or 6.
Oh God.
So
what's that look like?
I don't know yet. We'll find out. Ready?
Yeah. Alright guys, so I went over this, I buffed it again. You could still see some cloudiness in it. It's expected. We didn't go as high with the sandpaper as we should have. We stopped at 600. Realistically, I should have stopped at like 1200. But you can tell there's some cloudiness, but that's only if you get like really close to it and you see some of the scratches. If it's in the right lighting, you can probably see it. Yeah. But this was a test piece first. Realistically, I can still go up to 1200 on this side because I haven't done anything.
Yeah, we really could after this, knowing what we did here, we could go up to the 1200 on both sides. There's definitely a lot of scoring in this layer of epoxy. So we'll end up having to do this. This piece again wasn't that great to begin with.
No, this piece had a lot of imperfections in it from when the resin was applied and things like that. So that's why you see like divots and everything in it.
Yeah, like there's a pretty nasty hole right there.
Chunk missing.
So what we're gonna do, all right, and we'll come back to this at another day. We are gonna try these.
The inner door handle. All right, so we sanded these down from 120 all the way up to 1500. Got the compound on it after we cleaned it up a little bit, and it looks good. It looks better than the other piece did. It's definitely a lot less cloudy and less fine scratches that you could see when you hold it up to the light. It could use another round of compound. I honestly don't have a buffing wheel small enough to actually do this the way I'm supposed to, so I've been using my hand, and my hand can only go so fast. So I'm going to try to use my hand again. If not, I may attempt the buffing wheel. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but okay. So I'm going to try one more round of compound and some polish and update you guys when it's all set. Let's see what it looks like. All right, guys. So after I slaved away with my hand, he pulled out a drill.
Well, okay, in my defense, all right?
His defense.
I completely forgot I had this kit.
Now, the funny thing is, we were looking to set up a way to use the big buffer, and then he opened the box and he found that, and
So I was using the box as a place to mount the thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's what that was for, and we're probably still gonna need the box because unless you're gonna sit there with your hand while I buff.
No, my hands are done. Well, guys, as you saw, we got this compounded behind me. Kevin is polishing the other one up after he compounded that one. We'll catch back up with you guys when it's all done. We'll show you the finished product, and we're hoping to get them back in Kevin's car today. He hasn't had them since the summertime inside of his car, so let's make it so he has door handles today, and we'll update you guys in a minute.
I should get my shoulder back on.
So, what do you think?
I think it came out great. I think it came out really great. We'll have to give them a nice close-up once it's done.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll do this one. We'll compare it to that one.
Mm-hmm.
Once it's completely done, and then I definitely think these are going back in the car today. The only thing I want to say we might do in the future is we might add a clear coat to these.
I think we should.
I think the clear coat is just going to solidify everything. And on top of it, that's an added bonus of adding a layer on top of the epoxy.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it doesn't change color as much, or at all.
Okay, but for our first carbon fiber piece.
For our first carbon fiber piece, and like I said, this was a mess up because this has a lot of imperfections in it too.
Mm-hmm.
I think now that we know where we messed up or where I messed up, we'll be able to recreate this on a better scale.
Right. Be more efficient with it. We know what we need now.
Yeah, exactly. We know exactly what we need. Maybe we'll try different epoxy because this epoxy is just tabletop epoxy. There's nothing wrong with it, but there might be better epoxy out there too. More expensive, better.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, so we got to finish polishing off this one piece. We'll give you guys an update once we're finished polishing it, and then we'll put them back in the car, and I will finally have door handles.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But if they don't fit, it'd be really funny if it doesn't fit.
Money.
I think that's what I have to do with the other side.
That's in.
That is in there. So, that was an interesting day. We found out a lot.
We learned a lot.
We did learn a lot.
Educational and definitely showed us what we need to do to make things better.
It did. Especially with like all the stuff that we want to do this year.
Oh, yeah.
Having just those two pieces alone, or the three pieces that I did, there's so much that goes into learning how to do this properly. Sure. And when we go to do the bigger stuff, it's going to be good to have my experience with laying on the base coat and everything like that. But it's also going to be good that Alex and I will be able to do two pieces at the same time, where if I'm he could be sanding and I can be laying down a base coat, or he's base coat, I'm laying down yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of stuff that we're gonna learn together. We're gonna do this. This is gonna be a huge experience.
This is gonna be great. Wow.
It's a great experience, especially if whatever car we have. This is a lot of knowledge that we'll be able to just what, let's save the money and just do it ourselves. It's a little time consuming, but we live in the Northeast. We have 6 months off.
Yeah, come on.
So
gotta do something.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's.
If you're not learning something new every day, what are you doing? Come on.
Yeah.
And this is definitely going to be a big learning process. We'll figure it out. I mean, just from today, we figured out a good order of stuff we need to do. We know all the stuff we need to order to go forward with all the big stuff that we need to get done. So yeah, we're gonna just keep on rolling.
Chugging. Yeah, we're gonna have to order some more pieces, and I'm gonna have to do a little bit of measuring this week. I'm gonna try to organize this area this week.
Yeah.
And so Alex and I have a nice clean place and find everything a little bit better.
Yeah.
And quicker. That'll definitely speed up the process of us doing
this.
Oh
yeah, organization is definitely key in something like this, and just having things on hand when you need it.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that. We'll order everything that needs to get ordered, and we'll have a good system and a process. Everything's about the steps that need to get done. So if you have a good base, you're good to go.
Yeah. And the other good thing is we're going to bring you guys along. Every time we do this, we're going to learn something better. So we're going to bring you guys along, explain what we're doing, and every time we find something new, we'll share it with you guys on how to do better. And if you guys have any recommendations for us, we will greatly take it into account. And also, if you have any questions, please feel free to let us know in the comments below, and we'll try to answer it or try to go more in depth on a certain area.
Right. This is our first time doing this also.
Yeah.
By no means do we know what we're doing entirely, but we're learning as we go, so we'll get it figured out.
We will. I think that is ultimately it for today.
Yeah.
I think that's it. We spent a lot of time today down here, and I think...
Been here since 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we've been here since 10 o'clock. He's been here since 10 o'clock, and there's a lot of stuff that I can do when you're not here.
Yeah. Organize this area so it doesn't give me OCD.
Yeah, exactly. So... we'll work on that. We'll catch you guys in the next video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully next time we'll be able to do a lot more stuff. As it gets warmer, we'll do more stuff outside. So, catch you guys in the next video.
Goodbye.
Later.